Several big headlines this week. First, ex-FBI lawyer Lisa Page has broken her silence about the attacks from President Trump. Remember how President Trump read the tweets about her? Well, let us show you a little bit about that news. Watch this.
I love you, Peter. I love you too, Lisa. Lisa, I love you. Lisa. Oh, God, I love you, Lisa. And if she doesn't win, Lisa, we've got an insurance policy, Lisa. We'll get that son of a bitch out. We got an insurance policy. And we're living through the insurance policy. That's what it is. The phony Russia hoax. Lisa, I love you. Now, the do-nothing Democrat con artists and scammers are getting desperate. 13 months, I got to move fast because they're not beating us at the polls and they know it, despite the phony polls that you see all the time.
You know, when I watch that, can't you imagine it's 2027 and we're going to watch a highlight reel of words that came out of our president's mouth? That example
Former
of reading.
president by then.
Yes.
We're going to do the chest of
wait,
Mr.
I'm
President.
mid-sentence, y'all. And the idea of reading text in a sexual way where he's having an orgasm because Lisa's having an orgasm in the text. Anyway, she's come out. She's broken her silence. What do y'all think about what she's saying?
You got to admit, he was funny.
He was funny.
It was
funny. We gotta give it to him.
I sat here laughing, especially the fact that orgasm we all know lasted way longer than Trump is capable of.
That's right. Do you wait? I gotta ask. Oh, wait. Let's do a flash poll. Let's do a quick flash poll. How many people think that Donald Trump has had sex in the last month? Yes or no?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
With Monica Lewinsky.
That's right. Somebody said, but not with his wife. That's right.
That's funny. Because I can't picture him having sex.
Now we all have to. Thank you for that. That's the entire
other
meal.
thoughts
He's on
about
horse
Lisa
dog.
Page. Any other thoughts?
I just think she's coming out to get in front of the IG report and what's coming down from John Durham.
Now, what does that mean? What do you think's coming?
Well, the IG report is going to come out on the 9th, and that's the Inspector General's report on the FISA abuse and what went on there. And then shortly after that, John Durham is coming out with prosecution. I think she's going to be subject to some level of prosecution.
You do.
And she's trying to come out and
Now,
be a
wait.
victim.
Let's note
come out
this
and be a
moment.
victim.
You helped me do that. Jared Curry, we want to come back to this moment because I completely disagree with you, but I think
fine.
that's an interesting point, and I'm really curious
And
to
apparently,
see if
the
that's
IG
true.
report is supposed to actually exonerate her.
I was going to say
from
completely opposite.
From the bullshit that was thrown at her from Trump. But it's just very interesting. I want everybody to remember that when Trump won the nomination, do y'all remember him sitting up there and saying that you guys are going to see, I'm going to be the most presidential. You're never going to believe it. I'm just going to be the most presidential. I remember him saying that.
Mm-hmm.
He got up there and he said he was going to be the most presidential ever. And once again, 3 years down the line, this is what we see.
All right,
Yeah,
Joe helps us keep this in front of us. We're going to pay attention to this. That's an interesting point. Let's move into headline 2 this week. And headline 2 talks about social media. Now, this is a big story that doesn't directly affect most of us in America, but it affects all of us in America. Facebook and YouTube have shut down a Brexit advertisement of calling it a misleading political ad. This went on in Britain. We want to show you a little bit about this. Watch what happened.
You know what the answer is? It's because Parliament is unfortunately paralysed. It's like a blocked.
Pointless delay to Brexit.
Another Brexit delay.
Real drama there in the House of Commons tonight.
Complicated story, but it's a super important story to every ear that is listening to my voice. You're affected by this. Pause. You are affected by this. Facebook, YouTube, other social medias are grappling with how to manage misinformation. As extreme as Russia affecting our election, to what words you use in social media that can be bullying or intimidating. And this was an example. We had to be very careful in the production of this video of showing only bits and pieces in terms of having risks in the entire show of showing it, because we could be misleading if we did it. What do y'all think about the management in social media of words and free speech? In this example, with the conservative propulsion in Brexit.
I think what's really interesting about it is what we're watching at the core is the evolution of propaganda. Right, propaganda and misleading advertising has been around forever, since the 20s or something. And now we're in the digital age, we're in the social media age. The way that people consume their news is completely different. And the propaganda is evolving along with it. And now Facebook and YouTube and other platforms are trying to figure out how do we continue to foster free speech without perpetuating that kind of thing.
So the question is, what's propaganda?
Wait, hold on one sec. Wait, please let me interrupt. Now, I'm going to come back to you, so don't roll your eyes and throw your hands up.
I can do that.
Pause.
Wait, I want to hear what...
Hold on. I want to do a quick flash poll to this observation. In terms of how you consume your news, that's Aaron's point. It's done in a new way. Traditionally, especially baby boomers consume their news at 6:30 in the evening on NBC, ABC, or CBS. I'm asking right now, and let's say Fox 2, do you know the majority of your friends that consume their news that way at 6:30 p.m. in broadcast television? Yes or no?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
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 Okay, so the conclusion is your observation that you just made is true, which is meaning your observation and all of your answers proves why this affects every single person. You are all consuming, our friends are all consuming news in a completely new and different way. Now, I apologize for the interruption. Back to you, Joe, in terms of your observation about what's going on here.
The question is defining what's propaganda, what's marketing, and what's free speech. Because, as you said, propaganda's been around, but all you have to do is look at the sites and the marketing and the false marketing, right, to try and get people to click through. And you go, okay, what's free speech, but what's propaganda? Okay, what can be and what's marketing?
Very blurry line.
What some people say is marketing, you're going to say is propaganda, but they're going to say, wait a minute, I'm just trying to get clicks and get people to, buy this so I can get their Florida Blue in terms of this health thing. You cannot get anywhere without giving your phone number. And then today, I have been barraged by phone calls from 11 different places saying, oh, you wanted me to call you about a health plan. No, fucker. I want you to fucking leave me alone.
You bring up the point about free speech. And I've heard that many times in relation to this. And I think that it's a pretty ridiculous argument, quite frankly, because this isn't somewhere that you're having a government hearing or somewhere where free speech would even apply. This is a private platform that people agree to participate in within the millions of words that they say, I accept that I will abide by whatever rules you change or do every single week. This isn't about free speech because you're already giving up your rights when you sign up for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
That's valid. That's valid.
Me to our next option. There's always options, okay? You don't have to participate. There's no one handcuffing you to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. There is a new social media, community. And it's called me.we. And you can meet me there. There's no ads. There's no spyware.
Is this not an ad?
No, this is not an ad. But, if we're going to talk about that, right, we're talking about the digital age. We're talking about the millennial years. We're moving into a whole new time. This is something that we have not seen. Laws that were created 50 years ago don't apply now. We need to update. That's why we need politicians who are in place, who are of a certain age group, so they understand what challenges you're going to be facing in the next 20 years. That being said, we need legislation that's going to guide these private sectors through data collection, etc. And we have to be very careful. Like a social media platform, I mean, we have to think. Is that that's a community, right? And in a community platform, maybe just the same way we identify churches or certain types of organizations, then they become labeled as a certain organization.
I agree, and I think that Facebook has a responsibility. Once again, the more power you have, the more responsibility you have. And I think they have a responsibility to get it together, get it right, and start really type of structuring what can be seen on Facebook as far as false advertising. Because right now, Facebook politicians can still post advertisements that include false claims. And over 250 of Facebook employees signed a letter to Mark Zuckerberg protesting this policy. It's also interesting to note that on Facebook, yes, you have free speech. I mean, you give up your free speech, but Facebook actually is not really fair and balanced when it comes to what they dictate as free speech and what is harmful or bullying speech.
Language.
Because on Facebook, you can be black or any other color, but you can be black and use the word white to talk about racism or domestic terrorism, and you will get banned. I should know from experience.
Me too.
Right.
Yeah.
Hashtag me too.
Yes, but if you are a white person and you say the word nigga, you're not going to get banned.
Meaning N-I-G-G-A.
N-I-G-G-A.
Right.
Which I'm not here to say that nigga is bad or not bad, and I'm not here to debate that. I'm just saying if one is looked at as violating community standards, which is the word white, I would certainly expect the word nigga would be too.
That also brings up part of the problem with it in
Gonna
general.
close up in a moment.
We don't know what the standards it is that you're even violating when this happens, and that's how it becomes something of an enigma. What are we even violating in the first place?
Isn't the point of that observation that still in social media, 20 years now into real aggressive social media, it's still the Wild West?
Yeah.
Isn't what you just said still the Wild West?
And we don't know.
And,
But I
and
think
one
they're
other
making
concern
strides.
that I think is really critical in terms of who decides how the management. Once upon a time, the broadcast networks, are my little flash poll at 6:30 on broadcast television, there were rules and regulations propagated by the government.
Mm-hmm.
There are none
Right.
by the government in social media.
Yeah.
And there's advocacy here of saying we need to have reasonable rules. But I immediately bristle because does Donald Trump get to make those rules?
Right.
Does Joe Biden get to make those rules? Does Elizabeth Warren get to make those rules?
Right.
And all three of them would come from different perspectives.
So one of the things you have to remember here is those social media platforms right now are not considered broadcasting platforms.
Right.
So they have tremendous freedom
Yeah.
in terms of what they call, free speech or whatever they want to define their rules are. If Congress would declare Facebook and Twitter and some of these as broadcast platforms, they would have to conform to some of the same standards.
And they're working on that.
It
And
does
they're working on that.
I'm curious. I want to close this subject because
Because they're
unfortunately
content.
we don't
They're
have any
pushing
more
content.
time. A quick flash poll. I'd like to do a flash poll issue. Are you scared that the government will regulate and redefine any speech-related issues in social media? Does that scare you that the government's going to step in? Joe?
No.
No?
Nope.
No?
No.
Yeah.
No.
No, really. Now, that is not the conclusion that I thought the panel would come to. Generally, you're not concerned
We'll
about
come
it.
back to that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
It's
need
got
to
to
be
be a
more
topic
involved
we've
with
got to come back to.
technology.
Now, I've got to move on.